Okay, guys, this one has two things that we need to factor. Okay, it's two parts, that is. Now, looking at A, it says factor it completely. Well, if you look at your checklist from back at, in the introduction part 2, factor out the greatest monomial. Okay, well, let's look at that first. Okay, guys, if I ever have a negative in front, I definitely want to pull out the negative. And I also see that 4 goes into all of those things. And I see that n squared goes into all of those things. So now I need to say 4n squared times what gives me, negative 4n squared times what gives me negative 4n to the fourth? Well, n squared. Okay? Then negative 4n squared times what gives me positive 40n cubed? Well, negative 10n would give me positive 40n cubed, and positive 25, and that's it, not n squared, because I've got that out front. Okay, so now I can just put the negative 4n squared over here and leave it alone. Now I'm going to try and factor this trinomial. Well, I can kind of see this is a perfect square, that's a perfect square, but also I know that I'm going to get n and n. What two things multiply to give me positive 25 but add to give me negative 10? Negative 5, negative 5. And that's it. I can't factor anything else. I could write it like this, and I probably will, just to write it as simply as possible, but there's nothing else that factors. That's it, guys. Okay, good job on that one. Now let's look at B. Again, I've got to pull out something that goes into all of them. Well, I've got 5, 3, and negative 2. Okay, no numbers. But wait a minute. They all have a's and b's. They all have at least a squared, and they all have b. Okay? Now, I'd have to multiply this by 5ab to get that first part. Is that right? Yeah. Plus 3a squared. That'd be it there. Okay. Minus 2b squared. Okay. I like that. But you know what I don't like? I don't like the order this is in. Because, see, it's not in standard form. The higher power of a is behind a lower power of a. So I need to rewrite that as a squared b times, I'm sorry, not 5. That's the reason I'm writing it over. Okay. Plus 3a squared plus 5ab minus 2b squared. Huh. Okay. I wonder if I can factor that. I know that if I can, it's going to be something a, b, right, times something a, b. I just need to figure out the numbers. I know it's going to be 3a and 1a, right, because this thing's prime. And then if I've got negative 2 back here, I know my factors are 3 and 1, which I've already written. And I've got to get either, for negative 2, it can be negative 1 and 2, or 2, negative 1. Or it can be 1, negative 2, and negative 2, 1. Now, which combination gives me positive 5? That's what I need to know. Okay, well, I'm going to do this my shortcut way. Okay, I've got 3 times 2 gives me 6, and 1 and negative 1 gives me negative 1. 6 and negative 1 is positive 5. Look, guys, this is my combination. I found it on the very first one. Okay, so it needs to be, this needs to be plus 2, and this needs to be minus 1. Okay, and that's it. Now let's look at this. Am I done factoring? Can this thing be factored? No, they're all the first power. There's nothing that goes into both of them. That's it. Same thing with this one. Guys, I think we're done on that one. 2 problems knocked out just like that. Okay, good job, guys. We got one more example. Let's look at this. And then, guys, it just takes work. You just got to pound it out. Look at every one of them, okay, at every step, and see if you can factor it. Because in the end, it's this times this times this. 3 things being multiplied, and they're prime. There's nothing else we can do. Okay, good job, guys. See you at example 4.